Hi there guys, I hope you have had a good day. Now, Deontay Wilder was asked, if he cannot fight Tyson Fury next, then who does he want to fight? And this was his response. I want Dillian Whyte, I want Dillian Whyte, and I want Dillian Whyte. The dude's obsessed with me, he acts like we've had a bad breakup and he cannot get over me. I'm the man that he wanna be. So it's Dillian Whyte, is it, that Deontay Wilder wants? Why is it now that he wants Dillian Whyte? Because he did not want no part of Whyte when he was champion. Because Dillian Whyte was never specifically chasing Deontay Wilder. He actually wanted that WBC World Championship shot. That is what he was chasing, and Wilder refused to give him that opportunity. So effectively, Dillian Whyte was never chasing Wilder, he was never calling him out, he was calling out the WBC World Champion. That just happened to be Deontay Wilder. Now, Deontay Wilder is no longer WBC World Champion, Tyson Fury is. So Dillian Whyte's focus is now on Tyson Fury. And of course Alexander Povetkin, that rematch, so that he does get a fight with Tyson Fury potentially down the line. So is it Dillian Whyte going to want to fight Deontay Wilder when he has Alexander Povetkin potentially on January 30? Then next one could be a Tyson Fury fight with the WBC champion. So he's not going to fight Deontay Wilder now. He should not fight Deontay Wilder now. If Wilder really wanted to fight Dillian Whyte, then he's had his opportunity. Let's not forget he's already been offered millions to fight Dillian Whyte. Eddie Hearn has made a substantial offer, and in fact more than just one, to Deontay Wilder for him to fight Dillian Whyte. So if he wanted that fight, then it would have happened already. The reason why he wants it now is because he needs Dillian Whyte more than Dillian Whyte needs Wilder. Dillian Whyte is also a big name in the heavyweight division, the biggest name probably that he can call out at the moment. Now, in addition to Dillian Whyte, he was asked to name 4 other opponents that he would like to face. These are those opponents. Number 1, Dillian Whyte, Andy Ruiz Jr., Robert Helenius, then Joseph Parker and Alexander Usyk. Now, I have to say, some good names in that top 5 that he would like to face. Fair play, good names, but I'm just wondering, why did these fights not happen when he was champion? And why does he want them now? Does he actually want to face these guys? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that the only one that he would probably take on that list is Robert Helenius. He wants to talk about Andy Ruiz, he wants to talk about Dillian Whyte, Joe Parker, Usyk, because they are bigger names in the heavyweight division. Then he just throws in there Robert Helenius. So that is the most possible fight for Deontay Wilder, provided he does not fight Tyson Fury, in my opinion. But aside from that, as I said, some good names that he has mentioned. I just don't see him getting in the ring with any of those fighters other than Helenius. It would be a great fight, and I would probably like to see Andy Ruiz the most. Dillian Whyte, yes, would be a great fight. I would love to see Dillian Whyte fight Deontay Wilder. But that being said, I don't think that Dillian Whyte should be fighting Deontay Wilder, and I don't believe he will. He has the Alexander Povetkin rematch to get sorted. He said he wants that fight. If he cannot get that one, then it's Tyson Fury. So there are 2 clear targets for Dillian Whyte. Povetkin first, then Tyson Fury, or whoever holds that WBC World Championship. He's made it clear from the off that he's going the WBC route. So whoever is a champion has Dillian Whyte chasing them. That's the way it is. Not necessarily a specific opponent is in mind for Dillian Whyte, just whoever holds that title when he becomes mandatory. And it is kind of funny how the tables have turned and things have changed quite a bit, because Dillian Whyte, as I said, was chasing a fight with Deontay Wilder, the WBC champion, for a long time. He could not secure that opportunity. You would think that if Deontay Wilder thought it was a good enough fight for him, then he would have taken it by now. When he was champion, when he was fighting guys such as Dominic Breazeale, who was oddly enough a mandatory for him. But aside from that, there were many opportunities for Deontay Wilder to get in there with Dillian Whyte. He just didn't take them. Now, obviously he's going to want it now because he needs Dillian Whyte. Back then he didn't, he was already world champion, and he could dictate which fighters he wanted to be fighting. This time around it's not so easy. He is no longer champion, and he needs Dillian Whyte more than Whyte needs him. And now, provided Dillian Whyte beats Alexander Povetkin, he is then WBC Interim World Champion once again. Then hopefully he is called as mandatory. Hopefully he finally gets his long-awaited world title opportunity at Tyson Fury, or whoever holds that belt at that point. So he's not going to want to face Deontay Wilder in the near future. But That being said, there were in fact many opportunities for Deontay Wilder to face Dillian Whyte, but he did not take them. There was a lot of money on the table also. $5 million was presented to him, then an improved offer of $7, I believe, for him to face Dillian Whyte. He turned that down to go and fight fighters such as Luis Ortiz. Dominic Breazeale obviously was a mandatory, but then Luis Ortiz again, then Tyson Fury. So there were plenty of times when Deontay Wilder could have had this fight if he wanted it. He wants to talk about it now because I wouldn't say exactly that he wants it, but he wants to talk about it now because he needs a big name in the heavyweight division to call out. Dillian Whyte, Andy Ruiz, Alexander Usyk are all on that list. He is calling them out because they are big names in the heavyweight division. He can do nothing other than call out the biggest names, but then again, whether he fights them or not is another thing entirely. But this time around there are more top 10 heavyweights with the capabilities of beating Deontay Wilder than there were last time around, so a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship is not going to come easy this time for Deontay Wilder. So fighters such as Andy Ruiz Jr., Alexander Usyk and Joseph Parker, Dillian Whyte, they are in the way preventing him getting to that opportunity. So he's going to have to fight one of them, unless he fights someone like Robert Helenius, because the thing is about Deontay Wilder at the moment, he is number 1 in the WBC, but what he does need to do is maintain that status, so he needs to fight someone well ranked within the WBC to make sure he remains at number 1. Otherwise, a more deserved fighter of that position will overtake Deontay Wilder and be called as mandatory when that happens. Obviously, there is a fight between Povetkin and Dillian Whyte, which hopefully will determine the mandatory to the WBC belt, meaning finally, if Dillian Whyte beats Povetkin, he gets that long-awaited world title opportunity. Hopefully he does, because Dillian Whyte really does deserve a world title chance, and he's not going to fight someone like Deontay Wilder in the interim while he is still trying to secure a world title opportunity. I believe that if Dillian Whyte became a world champion, he would definitely give Deontay Wilder an opportunity because he wants to fight him, he wants to beat him, he wants to show that he is superior to Deontay Wilder. But if that is going to scupper his chances of getting a world title opportunity, he's not going to do that. And Deontay Wilder knows that. He's just calling out Dillian Whyte because it's a big name and it's someone who has previously called him out. And there is that dynamic to create a back and forth to get his name out there again, to make it seem like he does want the big fights. But actions speak louder than words. Fight Andy Ruiz, fight Joseph Parker, Dillian Whyte if you can, but he needs to back that up. It's one thing saying it, it's another thing doing it. That is what he needs to do going forwards. I suspect Helenius is the top name on his list. Guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below, leave a thumbs up, and subscribe if you are new. Thanks, guys.